Thank you for being here and joining us for our 14th annual Taste of Red Hook. This year is a little different, and we all wish that we could be here in person. The good news is, in doing this first ever virtual taste, we can have people from across the country. Thank you for joining us from Colorado and California and for learning about what's going on right here in Red Hook. We're so happy to have you. Red Hook Initiative is a nonprofit, community-based organization dedicated to serving over 6,500 residents of the Red Hook neighborhood, Brooklyn's largest public housing complex. RHI believes that the social change to overcome systemic inequities begins with empowered youth.
Hi, and welcome to our first ever virtual taste of Red Hook. My name is Greg Bishop, and I'm going to be your host tonight. We are actually live right in the home of RHI in Red Hook. I know we would love to be at Liberty Warehouse, but unfortunately, we are facing an unprecedented situation with the pandemic. But we want to thank you for just supporting us as we take a journey tonight, as we talk about the impact that we've had as an organization, not only in the Red Hook community, but even during this pandemic. We're going to talk about the impact that we've had with our farms. And we're also going to hear from the most important asset, our youth leaders. We're going to hear how they have made a difference in this community. We're going to hear from our business owners. And we have a special treat tonight. We're going to hear from Sohui Kim, who's going to take us on a journey right in her own home. And we have a couple surprises for you. So I just want to thank you for being here tonight. We're live, so expect the unexpected. We're going to have a lot of treats for you. First, I want to thank our sponsors. We could not do this without the support of Cytex, Mayor Brown, Camco, the Durst Organization, Red Hook Container Terminals, Regent Atlantic, Equinor, the Lonuzzi team at Compass, Brookfield Properties, and Pursuit. I also want to thank the hosts. As you know, we've been doing this for many years, and without you, we could not be where we are right now. And I also want to thank the wonderful network of donors who have already participated tonight. So there's a couple things we're going to do. This is our first time doing a virtual event. Right now, you would be walking around the room, and I normally would be asking you to donate later on. And we're still going to do that, but it's going to be a little bit different. Right now, you can actually bid on our silent auction items. You can also donate while you're watching our broadcast by using the buttons on the left-hand side of your screen. So check your phone, make sure you have your phone right next to you. I know most of us do throughout the night, because we'll be letting you know when the auction starts. You can also head to rhi.givesmart.com to donate and bid on our silent auction. And remember, the most important thing is the auction closes at 8 p.m. tonight. So we're going to hear a lot about what we've done this year. And as you know, RHI has been impactful in the Red Hook community. We continue to do so. After 18 years, we continue to make an impact, creating change from within. You're going to hear from our youth leaders in terms of what they have done, not only in terms of how they've responded to COVID, but how they've also responded to helping with the census, how they've responded in terms of going virtual as our schools had closed. There's so many different things that you're going to hear. But I want to take a special moment and introduce the next speaker that you're going to hear from, which normally she's right next to me, right on stage as we start talking about the impact that we have, and it's no other than Kiana. Kiana, who's our lead youth organizer, has been with RHI since she was in middle school. And Kiana is passionate about making change in this neighborhood. Kiana is what we talk about when we say creating change from within. And I could go on and on and on about Kiana. I'm sorry that I'm not going to be able to take our normal photo. We always go to the photo booth tonight, but we can't. So I'm just going to say thank you, Kiana, for all your hard work. And without further ado, let's hear from Kiana.
Right now, we have a bunch of work going on, construction, where it was supposed to be in phases, but they took it down. They did it in 2 phases. However, we still are trying to uplift our community by putting up art everywhere that we can. My passion for the work that I do and everything that I do, I love doing it for my community. I want them to know that they can have a voice. I want them to understand that they can advocate for themselves, even down to the youth. And I know that it's like a big issue between bridging the gap between the youth and the adults. However, we're going to do it. And I'm really looking forward to continuing to do this work with the youth and the adults. All my work that I do with RHI is like I appreciate being the torch that can be able to pass the torch down to the next generation and them being able to pass it down to the next person.
I'm Anthony Worthy, and I am Change.
Hi, my name is Odalis, and I am Change.
Hi, I'm Kaya, and I am the change.
Here at RHI, I'm a senior peer health navigator. Here, I work with other groups. I was previously a peer health educator and got promoted to a peer health navigator, and now currently promoted again to a senior peer health navigator, where I basically watch other groups with their workshops.
PHN, I was able to teach a peer health educator class in the summertime to kids on the spectrum, and I really liked it. It was really fun. And for me to do that when at like 17, 18 was like a really big experience for me. And I feel like I will definitely try to further my career in sexual reproductive health.
I'm a community organizer, and previous to that, I was a youth organizer, which we advocated for our community, and we attended council meetings to do that.
I was able to sit here and go to college. Unfortunately, we had to learn through a computer screen due to the pandemic, but I was able to go to college, fortunately, and actually work towards graduating and getting a degree.
I taught, because these were like middle school kids, we couldn't really go into deep detail about the things that we would to high school or to like adults. We mainly talked about like communication skills and like healthy relationships with like friends, families, partners, things like hygiene, and we basically taught how that all ties into like your reproductive health.
I was struggling a lot in middle school, and I wasn't much of a talker, so she told me RHI would change me, and would help me with whatever I need, so that's why I came. RHI, for the most part, helped me apply for college and get into college, and when I felt like I was alone, they told me I wasn't, and they were here for me every step of the way.
I'm mostly grateful for the family setting that we have here. RHI is like one big family tree. So you don't just get your average coworker, like you develop feelings with everyone in this building and you develop a relationship with them. It's like you have a bond that's just here and it's never forgotten.
I started in the summer of 2016, 2017, and I'm still here now.
Every time somebody tells me they need a job or they need help, RHI is the place to go to. RHI has all the resources you would ever need.
People at RHI know that I come here smiling, all happy. Before that, I was coming here with a straight face, not wanting to talk to people, still finding a place to sit by myself. But now that I came here to RHI, I'm more social. I can talk to people without looking away. I can actually come in here and smile and be glad to be here.
Welcome back. My name is Greg Bishop, for those that's just joining us, and we are here live in Red Hook, Brooklyn, for our first ever virtual Taste of Red Hook. We know we wanted to be together tonight. We wanted to be sampling all the great foods, but we're doing it differently today because of the pandemic. So I just want to thank you for joining us. I'm so excited about what you just heard about. because a lot of our work is focused on our youth. And you heard the terrific things that they have done. And you've heard the impact that RHI has had on the young people here in the community. It's so great to see our young people seizing the power that they have and taking that power and focusing on creating change from within and helping them support. And what we do is help them support and empower them to continue that change. At RHI, we've been doing this for the past 18 years on the leadership of Jill Eisenhart. And not only has 2020 been a very interesting year, but it's also been a transformational year for RHI. In this summer, Jill, after 18 and a half years of leadership, stepped down from the organization. And I just want to take this time as a member of the board, and I've been on the board for some time, to thank Jill for her hard work, her dedication, and her vision. Many of you have heard the story about RHI, have heard how RHI started as just an idea, just an application to help young mothers in the Red Hook community. And that idea blossomed into this organization 18 and a half years later. And we're going to talk about some of the impact that we've had. We're going to talk about the $1.6 million that's been invested in the Red Hook community. We're going to talk about our young people who are graduating at an 85% graduation rate. All that could not have been established and could not have been accomplished without the hard work of Jill. So on behalf of the board, and behalf of the staff at RHI, on behalf of the community, we just want to thank you, Jill. I know you're looking. I know we would all be in the room right now. We would give you a huge round of applause, but we can't do that. But we just want to say thank you. But with that change comes a new leadership, a new vision, a new direction for the organization. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome Morgan Monaco. Morgan comes to us with almost 13 years of public sector experience, and her passion has been about social justice and the intersection of environmental sustainability. But more importantly, Morgan cares about creating change from within. And after 6 months of searching, the board selected Morgan as the next leader of RHI. So I'm going to stop here because I want you to hear from Morgan and hear from her. Now, we would probably put her up on stage. I would have to shush a couple folks. But the great thing about this pandemic and the great thing about being virtual is that now you can focus your undivided attention on our next leader for the future of RHI, RHI's new Executive Director, Morgan Monaco.
My name is Morgan Monaco, and I am the new Executive Director of the Red Hook Initiative. For the past 13 and a half years, I've worked for the City of New York. I first worked for the Parks Department for 7 years, where I had the pleasure of running a citywide tree campaign, Million Trees NYC. And then I went on to work for the mayor's office, where I had the experience of getting to work with all different agencies all across the 5 boroughs, helping on policy for health and human services. But realizing that government is an important player in improving people's lives, I really wanted to have the full experience of coming to work for a specific community. And I was so lucky that I met RHI back when I was at the Parks Department, and I came on the farm and had a vision of creating a tree stewardship program for the residents of Red Hook. And through that, years later, stayed in touch with RHI and had the wonderful opportunity of getting to know RHI, know the people, and now I'm the lucky one that gets to steward this next iteration, this next chapter for RHI's future. I feel very lucky to inherit an incredibly strong organization and a team of people who are dedicated to helping to improve the lives of every single resident of this beautiful community. So I take that foundation and I think about the ways in which we've come so far over the past 18 years, and we have an incredible model that really works for what we're trying to do. We're really trying to not just help people for today, but really set people up for success, to help them thrive and to help build a better and more beautiful community. And so those are the ingredients. So I am the lucky one that then gets to sort of say, okay, as things start to change, as things start to evolve, the way that we relate to each other, how we communicate, how kids are going to school, all of that is changing, but the model stays the same. And so I'm looking forward to thinking about what are the ways in which we're already helping people with education, with employment, with fighting against housing injustice, repairs that need to be made, and thinking about how we can help to expand upon this wonderful foundation. And my vision for the organization is really rooted in healing. There's so much healing that needs to get done from this pandemic, from this moment that we're in, as well as years of systemic inequalities. And we need to heal from both of those things simultaneously. So I'm really looking forward to working with the amazing team of people here and with the community to help define what healing looks like. Again, not for today, not for a week, but for long-term, generations, systemic change. I believe in the power of youth to help define the world that they're in. Youth are at the center of how we create change for the future. And the model of helping to support youth find their own path, help to offer employment services, help to offer education, help to focus on wellness and healing, and then continue to run our entire organization by feeding funds and supporting jobs directly in the Red Hook community is, I think, the defining success of this initiative. So the model resonates to me because it's completely holistic in thinking about how are we going to promote change and how are we going to combat against systemic inequities, that it's going to take that holistic approach to undo those systemic inequities. The needs of the community are vast. There's a lot of areas where we have a lot of work to do in terms of health. The moment that we're in this pandemic, health is of the utmost importance. And already the chronic conditions that the Red Hook residents have experienced for years have become under more stress because of the pandemic. So I'm talking about respiratory illness, I'm talking about asthma, and I'm talking about the way that relates to housing conditions and mold. All of that connects to environment where we're not setting people up for success. So the need of the residents span everything from house to housing to food insecurity to access to education. It's very hard to show up for virtual learning if you don't have Wi-Fi, if you don't have a computer, or you have to share a computer. So the needs of the community have been there for years and are even more complex in the environment that we're facing. And so I'm excited about working with the team to listen to residents, to understand what their needs are and how those needs are changing over time, and how we can mobilize the resources that we have today and the resources that we'll have tomorrow to help address meeting people where they are and giving them the tools and resources to help support the community needs overall. As the Executive Director, my vision for RHI is rooted in this idea of healing. So we're in a critical moment where there needs to be a lot of focus on healing the ways of the past. And I'm excited to work with the team, the staff, who have already been thinking about these issues and are rooted in the community, and working then with residents as well to try to understand and define what healing looks like for them. And again, I think healing has to be everything from access to jobs and economic recovery and healing when it comes to economic justice, as well as an emotional wellness and thinking about people's felt experience and how their lives have been completely uprooted and changed as a result of the pandemic and years of systemic inequalities. So my vision is very much rooted in a notion, in an idea of how we can come together as a community to define what healing means for us. I see a thriving team of people who are dedicated to listening to the community and developing programs that are responsive to the emerging and changing and diverse needs of the community and the residents. I see RHI being at the forefront of helping to provide services in the areas of housing and employment and education and health and wellness. And in 5 years, we will not have the same disparities should there be another shock to the system and an international pandemic where we can withstand whatever challenges come our way. Unlike during Hurricane Sandy, when we didn't have the restrictions of staying 6 feet apart, we now had to overcome how we were going to support a community remotely and help residents navigate how to go about their daily lives, going to work and putting themselves at risk. Many of the residents are in frontline direct service jobs and could not afford to take off days or work remotely. We had to work with individual residents and their families to understand what a safe protocol meant for them. And when we did a community survey, we found that there is a multi-generational impact for this pandemic, that there are many young people who are living with their older adults and grandparents. And that means that when a younger adult who may be less vulnerable to COVID goes out to go to work to help make sure that their income is sustained, that they're putting their family at risk. And it's those trade-offs and choices that people at the margin are often overlooked. And that's when we had to say to ourselves, it's not just about helping make sure that people have Metro cards or have PPE. It's about, what does this mean that I'm taking on this risk or burden for my family that I'm responsible for? So we very much had to leap into action and make sure that we were providing broad coverage for mental health awareness and support. I also want to thank so many of the local restaurants who have been there for us and had our backs throughout this entire time. And now I'm asking for your support to help have their backs. Help buy a gift card for a birthday party, make an online order, or come in person, pick up a to-go dinner. We want to make sure that they're thriving in the way that they've helped to support us here at RHI. RHI gives me hope.
Thank you, Morgan, and welcome to the RHI community. We're so excited to have you here, and we know that under your leadership, RHI is going to go farther. It's so good to be here, and we are live, and this is the moment where we all can be interactive. In a short moment, I'm going to start asking for your assistance. We want to make sure that in normal times that you have the full Taste of Red Hook experience. So normally after you walk around and you eat some good food, normally I would bring you together and we'll talk about all the impact that RHI has had in the community. But tonight you've heard some of those stories. You've heard from our youth leaders. You've heard from Kiana. You've heard from our new executive director and the vision that she has for this organization. So now I'm going to talk about how you can help us support that. So we're going to check on our progress tonight. So right about now, you should see a little thermometer pop up. And we're going to try, and this is going to be, it's all virtual. It's my first time doing this. We're going to try to get to $40,000 tonight. You may think it's impossible, but we've done it before. And I got to tell you, we are so lucky to have a generous donor who's offered to double everyone's donation tonight up to $10,000. So we're gonna look, and I'm gonna do this live right now. By now you should be getting a text message from me. If you don't see anything on your phone, don't worry. You can use the button to your left, and you could actually make that donation. So we're gonna start talking about what your donation will do to help RHI. You've heard all the things that we've done. Not only have we contributed to the RHI community by investing almost $1.6 million. That's salary. That is working with businesses, supporting our businesses in the Red Hook community. We've helped all our young people in terms of our youth programming. Almost 85% of our young people graduate and move on to college, where the average graduation rate in the RHI in Red Hook is about 45%. We continue to make efforts and continue to support our community. This year has been a tremendous year for us. We've had to shift our operations to remote learning, but we still are making that impact. So in March, over 1,500 users started using the Wi-Fi network that was built by RHI. And that could not have been possible without your support. So take this moment now, look at your phones. Whether it's $1, whether it's $10, whether it's $20, whether it's $200, make your donations now. And I'm gonna try this, and I'm gonna actually refresh the screen to say thank you, Hillary, for making that donation. We're at $28,000. We are trying to get to $40,000 tonight. Every single dollar that you donate will be matched up to $10,000. We're already at $28,000. Can you help us get to $40,000? This is our only fundraiser, and it is the most important fundraiser for the organization. All our longtime supporters, you know that this is the moment where we raise the most revenue to help us actually deliver on our programs. And we just want to thank you for your support. I'm going to start calling out. Thank you again. We have an anonymous donor, so thank you very much for donating that. We're at 28,000. Your donation will help us with our youth programming, will help us continue to make the impact that we're making. We have distributed over 70,000 pounds of produce to address the food insecurity as a result of COVID-19. We continue to help our young people, and we ensured 100% of our college students returned safely to Red Hook. Thank you, Oren, for that donation. We're at now $29,000. Continue to make those donations. Because of a generous sponsor, we have been able to double your donation. So feel free, whether it's $10, whether it's $100. Maybe we have somebody that can donate $1,000. That donation will go further tonight, because if you can donate $1,000, that generous donor will actually match that $1,000 up to $10,000. So can you help us get to 40,000? We have Barbara who just made a donation. Thank you very much. We appreciate the support. This is the time to really help RHI. We know it's a difficult year, and we know everyone's pockets are stretched. But this, now more than ever, is the moment to actually dig deep and help us. We have a lot of work to do. We actually, during the census, a lot of our leaders logged over 28,000 engagement activities, even during a pandemic, and connected to over 6,000 neighbors to help them complete the census, to have a record response rate of 68%. So this is the opportunity. These are the moments where we are actually making a difference in the community. And we're going to continue to do that work, but we really need your help. Can you get us to 30,000? We are at like $29,000. We are almost at $30,000. We're trying to get to 40, but we could get to $30,000. Now, I would normally be walking around talking about all the great work, and I know my sidekick Kiana would be right next to me talking about the impact that our programs have had in the RHI community. But tonight we are just here. I'm here in the room, live. I might not be able to get out of the room if we don't get the 40,000. So I really want you to help me here, because we're trying to be innovative. We know it's been difficult. You are sitting at home, but we want you to be able to help us, and we want you to feel that you're actually here. We are at $30,000. Thank you very much for all your donations. I see a donation that came in from Adam. Thank you very much for helping us get to 30,000. Now I'm going to try to push us a little bit. Can we get to 35,000? Because tonight we're actually trying to get to 40,000. But is it possible for us to get to $35,000? Every dollar that you donate goes into our programming. And you've heard the terrific work from our youth leaders. You've heard the vision of our new executive director. We have a lot of work to do. And in the middle of a pandemic, it's much more complicated. So we want to thank you for just supporting us. Thank you, Larry, for making that donation. We appreciate that. We are at $31,000. And I'm right here. I'm actually refreshing the screen. You're seeing the thermometer on your computer. And we want to make sure, we want to get right to the end. I don't want to hold up the program because we have a terrific rest in the show. We have a terrific surprise coming up. You're going to learn about, thank you, Judy, for that donation. You're going to learn about the farm and the farm operations. We're going to take a virtual tour of the farm. And then we have a surprise. We're going to enter the kitchen of Sohui Kim, who's going to actually teach us how to make one of her favorite recipes. Oh, wait a minute. Did I tell you that just for you being here tonight, you're going to get an email, a recipe book, just in time for Thanksgiving, with some amazing recipes from all our businesses and our restaurants that have actually supported us. So everything from Bang Bang Shrimp to the best cocktail, you're going to be able to get that recipe book just in time for Thanksgiving. Thank you, Chloe, for that donation. We are almost at $32,000. Is it possible we can get to $35,000? Again, these donations go right into the operations of RHI. We will also, after this, we're gonna take a tour of the farm. We're gonna talk about how the farm has actually helped address the food insecurities. We've also we're going to talk about the fact that we're not only the largest urban farm in Brooklyn, but we have a huge impact not only in the community, but also of our youth farmers. Our youth farmers have learned so much working in the farm, and we also help them in terms of contributing to their income. Over $95,000 has been our youth farmers have earned by just being on the farm. So everything that you're doing right now and every donation that you're making is going back into programming. Thank you, Robert, for that donation. We're at $32,226. I might be behind, but I want to get to $35,000. As we go on this journey through the Red Hook Farm, and then we're going to take a break and go into the kitchen of Sohui Kim. And we're going to learn about how the farm and how the connection she has with the farm. And then we're going to cook an incredible meal. Hopefully you're by your kitchen and you have some of the materials. If you don't, guess what? You could actually come down to the farm and get some of the produce this weekend to actually try some of these recipes. But before we do that, I just want to thank you, Belinda, for that donation. We appreciate it. I just want to make sure that we try to get to our goal of $40,000 tonight. We're so close. We're at $32,000. Can you just make that donation of $5? If you make that donation of $5, it's actually $10 because we have a generous donor who's going to match dollar for dollar up to $10,000. If you can give $1,000, that would be fantastic. If you can give $5,000, that would be fantastic. I know that. Thank you, Carmen, for that donation. So we're going to move to the best part of tonight, because I know some of you are really, really excited about learning new recipes for the kitchen. And it wouldn't be Taste of Red Hook without some type of food. I know we're not in the room tonight. We're not sampling all the delicious foods from our local businesses, but we're going to take you on a journey. And hopefully by the time, thank you Diana for that donation, and thank you Joshua for that donation. And by the time we come back, hopefully we have gotten closer to our goal of $40,000. And I'm going to make one more appeal before we end tonight's show. So we're going to take a tour of the farm. We're going to go into Sohui's kitchen, and we're going to come back to you. So let's go on that tour.
So my name is Michael Martinez Veloz, and my job title is Farm Apprentice.
My name is Judah, and I'm a senior farm apprentice.
My name is Shamir, and I'm a senior apprentice at the farm. I help my team persevere through the hard tasks that we do.
I was given the opportunity to kind of be a leader within my peers.
Being a senior farm apprentice means that I'm like a crew leader for some of the smaller cohorts we have here, and we harvest and sell our food at our Saturday market.
Farming is like a free space where I can express myself and also give back to the community that I'm from.
Something I love about the farm is the fact that we have volunteers and a farm market. For the first 2 years that I worked here, I was working with the volunteers, and that was something I really enjoyed doing because I get to meet new faces and learn what they think, and everything they told me was that this was the funnest farm that they've been to. So, yeah.
To me, farming means connecting back to your roots and creating a relationship with the land that you work on.
I built that. I hope put it together, even though it's not finished, but like, it's a big accomplishment.
My passion for farming is being able to see like the rewards of my work go back into the community. I'm grateful that it's so accessible and it's not far away. Like it's a walk from the houses here.
Everything plays a role here on the farm. Sustainable regenerative practices to take care of the land, to be good stewards. And as a result, we have a lot of things that live on our farm. Different kinds of moths, butterflies, crickets, caterpillars, grasshoppers, katydids. It's a whole world. So yeah, we have bitter melon here, which we are saving the seeds for in partnership with True Love Seeds. So getting the seeds back out into the community. They're these gelatinous, bright red, beautiful seeds. We have to wash them off, and once you scrub it, you get these like really beautifully textured golden brown seeds underneath.
My name is Sohui Kim, and I've been a long time resident of Red Hook, as well as a chef, co-owner of a local restaurant called A Good Fork. I also have a Korean barbecue restaurant in Gowanus, part of Brooklyn, called Insa, and we are about to open a third restaurant called Gage Tollner. Red Hook Initiative and myself, my husband, the restaurant, The Good Fork, we go way back. Red Hook Initiative was introduced to me by a friend, Brandon Holly, and she still is an active board member of Red Hook Initiative, and she asked me if I would donate a pot of food to the very first Taste of Red Hook. I don't even know if we called it Taste of Red Hook back then, but it was about 14 years ago. Is that right? So it was about 14 years ago, and so we went to Brandon's house, a bunch of us neighborhood folks, and the Good Fork hadn't even opened yet. And I remember bringing a big old pot of gumbo to our house and meeting some other lovely folks who are just getting involved with the initiative. And it just right off the bat, it sounded like an amazing organization that
Red Hook in general could benefit from, and to look back in the 14, 15 years of our personal relationship, our professional relationship, and just to see what Red Hook Initiative has been able to do for this community, it's pretty mind-blowing. So I have to say that I'm a proud member of Red Hook Initiative community, and I support everything that we do here in Red Hook. It's just such a fabulous way for the community to really stay grounded, right? And what better way than to, share the wonderful produce that comes out of this farm. Whether you serve it at a restaurant or you have it as a CSA, partnership. And just for all the lovely, wonderful students and the youth of Red Hook to learn about urban farming and the importance of feeding yourself, your body, your community, healthy, local, delicious, organic produce. So yeah, I've been a huge fan for a very, very long time, and a lot of events that took place on this wonderful farm. The countless, CSA pickups, the farm stands, harvest festivals here. I even did a couple of weddings. Some people wanted to get married, on the farm. So a lot of great memories. So, and I'm just so proud to have this farm here as a resident.
Hey, you guys, come on in. Stir fry is what we're making today with all the bounty, the beautiful produce that we got from the farm. This is a bit unusual. It's not in everybody's repertoire, but it is delicious and unique and very weird. So I thought it'd be fun for us to cook this up. And I love the fact that Red Hook Farms is growing these beauties, or these uglies, called bitter melon. And then of course we got a beautiful head of green cabbage. And then, of course, the gorgeous array of peppers. I mean, I wanted to get all of them, but we have a small lunch box of sweet peppers, and then we have the green and the red jalapenos. So I'm just going to go ahead and just prep some of this stuff. The reason why I picked the peppers is because not for the heat necessarily, for these, but just pretty colors, just a pop, because we have green. They call it bitter melon, obviously, because of the bitter quality, but it's not super bitter. To tame the bitterness, what we're going to do is blanch this. It's a fancy word for just boiling it in salted water for a little bit, so that some of the bitterness comes out, but it's going to be just a quick blanch. It's going to hold its color, and the only thing that it's going to do is just get rid of some of the bitterness. Do you have to blanch it? You don't actually have to do it, but I do have a pot of water going on right now. If you were to clean the same way and slice it sort of pretty thin and quick high heat stir fry, you could certainly go ahead and do that as well. So it's not a necessary step.
Rule number one about cooking in general with heat is that if you are going to stir fry, or if you're going to saute something, make sure you bring up the pan, just sort of, clean and dry. And then when it gets up to temperature, then you put the oil in, and that helps you from getting sticky food. If you're lucky enough to have a farm like me, in Red Hook, you know, this is what you could put together in about less than 10 minutes. So I'm going to try this. Okay. That part of the cooking show, like at the end when you eat it, and your mouth is full and you feel like you still need to talk about it. I'm just going to give it a thumbs up and say it's really good.
Oh my gosh, that smells so great. Isn't it smelly? Aren't you smelling it in your place right now? No? I know we don't have that technology yet, but trust me, I wish I was in that kitchen as well. Thank you so much, Sohui, for inviting us into your kitchen and teaching us a little bit of your secret recipes. And thank you so much to our youth workers for taking us a tour of the farm. Again, it's so important to understand just how much of an impact that we've had here in the RHI community. The farm itself has been instrumental in our programming. Our workers, our youth workers have been instrumental in our community. Our leaders have been instrumental. The whole package is all about creating change from within. And with your support, we are doing that tonight. I just want to thank you because we are at $33,000. And before I said we wanted to get to $35,000. So I'm going to ask you to just pop the little thermometer up while I tell you about a couple things. So just for you being here tonight and supporting us, joining us on our first ever journey of a virtual taste of Red Hook, look in your email, make sure you check your spam if you don't get this, but there's going to be a terrific guide that's going to come. It's going to be full of such great recipes from some terrific restaurants. You're going to learn how to make cornbread from Hometown Barbecue. You're going to learn how to make potato and egg sandwiches from DeFonte's of Brooklyn. Honeycomb candy from Apple Hills Creamery. I'm so excited about this recipe book because Thanksgiving is next week. And I know we all can't be together with our families because of the pandemic, but we can try to make some interesting meals with our immediate family. So we want to make sure that you get this in time. Unfortunately, I don't see the key lime pie from Steve's, but maybe we'll try next year. I want to thank our sponsors for just helping us try this and actually getting us to this point where we are actually doing a virtual taste of Red Hook. I want to thank our hosts for your tremendous work. We are at 33,000 right now, and as I'm talking, I want you to still keep on contributing and donating because we can get to 40,000. Even if it's $5, even if it's $10, even if it's $50, we are still on track to unlock that $10,000 match. So please keep on giving. I want to thank Sohui and Morgan, of course, for just your tremendous leadership, and of course Sohui for inviting us to into your kitchen. I also want to thank DeuceRobinsonFilms for filming and editing the program tonight. It's been such a journey in order for us to capture the work that we do in a digital form and actually do this. I mean, we are here. I'm sitting here live in RHI, in Red Hook, where we have a whole production that's happening just to simulate the experience that you would have had we been at Liberty Warehouse. So we want to thank DeuceRobinsonFilms. We also want to thank Carrie Quad, the team, for planning the event tonight. It's still an event, and we want to thank you for your contribution to that. We also want to thank the youth, because without you, there would be no RHI, for making their voices heard tonight, and of course, for the terrific RHI staff who worked tirelessly to make this event happen. Thank you for all you do. Now, this is probably the last time you're going to see me on camera, but the show is not over yet. And definitely the silent auction is not over. So please take a moment. There's still maybe one or two items that do not have a bid, and by now you should have gotten a text on how you can actually bid. And remember, you can actually bid while the show is going on. The silent auction ends at 8 p.m. So you have time. And there's some terrific deals on there. If you have the inclination, and if you're a Cubs fan, there's still Cubs tickets that's available, so check it out. Let's check that thermometer one more time. Are we close to $35,000? I know we wanted to get to 40, but we are talking to our generous donor, and if we can get to 35,000, that will unlock the match. Can we do it? We're at 34,611. We just need $400 more to get to that $35,000 to help us unlock that match. Are you going to be the person? Are you going to be the one that say, yes, I'm going to invest in RHI? I believe in RHI. I've seen the impact that RHI has had for 18 years in this community. And I know that for 18 more years, we will be a staple in this community, and we will continue to do the work, helping our young people, creating change from within, advocating for public housing, advocating to ensure representation, advocating for better transportation. Are you going to be the one to donate $300 because we're at now 34.7? Can we get to 35? Are we there? We're almost there. We've got $200 more, and then I'm going to stop, and we're going to turn the rest of the show back to Sohui, who's going to close out. We are at $34,800. Can we get to $35,000 tonight? This is our first time we're doing this virtually. This is my first time just looking into the camera, looking into your home right now, telling you thank you so much for all the support that you've done, that you've given RHI over the years. We want to thank you for just being here tonight and supporting us in a virtual way. This is our first ever virtual Taste of Red Hook. But we are almost there. We are $40 away from $35,000. I have a bottle of champagne that I'm about to, no, I'm not going to pop it because we don't want anything to happen to our computer systems here. But we are $40 away. Can we get someone to just donate $40 to get us to $35,000? And we will consider tonight a success. We are always so thankful for all our donors, all our supporters, because you know the work is so important. It continues to be important for this community. We are at $35,000. Thank you. There should be champagne and all that stuff happening right now. But I just want to thank you so much for all the donors and viewers who participated tonight. We could not have hit this goal without you. And thank you to our generous donor who've agreed to match up to $10,000. So we are very excited that we have hit our goal tonight. We want to thank you. And now I'm going to turn it back to Sohui, who's going to close us out tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm Greg Bishop, board member of RHI and your host tonight. Thank you and have a great evening. Stay safe, stay socially distanced, wear your mask. Have a good night.
There's so much, we hear of so much about community these days, and how resilient, we all should be and can be. And having lived through Red Hook, not just myself, as a business owner, as a resident, but just speaking for all of Red Hook and a lot of the other low-lying neighborhoods that were impacted by Sandy and going back like 8 years now, and how Red Hook community came together, and I feel that Red Hook Initiative was really a big force in that as well. So all of us, businesses, organizations, residents, we come together to help one another out. And certainly that is not, that was an exception to the rule. That's definitely the rule always here in Red Hook. And so with COVID, 20 times is more catastrophic, right? If you're going to put that kind of qualification to it. As the superstorm Sandy and the way that we were affected. COVID has also, I feel like, has shown such resiliency, in people. we show up for our neighbors and supporting, you know, the businesses and whatever we can. And that's always been such a strong drive of this community ever since I came onto the scene about 20 years ago. And that's really what I love about it.